I'm sure by now many of you have seen the new upcoming Velma series that is coming up on HBO Max. The Velma series that happens to be a spin-off of Scooby-Doo, the show that we all knew, loved, and watched while we were growing up. Particularly if you're an 80s and 90s kid, Scooby-Doo was pretty big all over the world. I mean, I watched it in Nigeria, so I know what I'm talking about. I mean, it was really big in Nigeria. So, yeah, the characters that we all knew and loved, they were white people, but it seems like in the modern world, it's not just good enough for the story to have white people in them. So they apparently have been reimagined. And in the reimagination of all of the characters, all of the characters have been reimagined with the exception of one of them. And that happens to be Fred. And apparently what I just found out is that Fred is racist. Who knew? Well, every other character were reimagined into maybe being South Asian or Black from the four characters that are going to be on the show, with the exception of Fred, who happens to be white. So how do I know that they are going to be representing Fred as a racist? Well, it is from what Mindy Kaling herself, the producer of the show, and the person that voices, some of you would already know this, the person that voices the character Velma herself, said. So we're going to be getting into some of the things that she said. But before we get into it, I want us to just check out the clip of the show, because as it were right now, from what I can see on YouTube, let's check this out. It is being ratioed to hell. It is having a ratio of about 199,000 downvotes to just 26,000 upvotes. So a whole lot of people absolutely hate this show, and they are demolishing it in the comment sections. And so there's this thing that is going on in the comment sections of many of these shows that are reimagining characters that we love, you know, already how they were. We didn't need anything being changed per se. And even if they were being changed, as long as it wasn't for political purposes, like, you know, the way they did Nick Fury, nobody really cared that they changed Nick Fury for the Marvel series. So if they're doing it that way, it would be fine. Or the way they kind of like changed Spider-Man, but didn't change Spider-Man, created a whole new black character like Miles Morales that everybody just loved, right? So not the way they are doing it now, by saying they want to push diversity and inclusion. When they say diversity and inclusion, it actually means exclusion of white people, period. That's it. So anyways, you guys, so this was what people were saying. You know, they said, when Velma bravely deleted the amount of dislikes, I literally had goosebumps. It was a stunning act. Another person says, I love the part where Velma yelled, "You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you." It's such a powerful, gut-wrenching scene. I had literal chills. Someone else said, the part where Velma said, open your eyes. Open your eyes, Link, sent shivers down my spine. An absolute masterclass. So people are showing their disdain for this by actually quoting sarcasms or sarcastically quoting, you know, various statements from other shows or other movies and whatnot, you know. Because if they actually went directly and said how they felt about this, the comments will be turned off. So this is what people are doing now, and it's become a trend to what they're doing for many of these shows. We've seen this happen with Amazon of Rings of Power. We've seen it happen with The Little Mermaid as well. And, you know, people just don't want to straight out criticize it, or they'll turn off the comments. As you well know, woke revolutionaries cannot take criticisms very well, so they would rather shut you up rather than listen to your actual opinion. Anyways, getting down to the actual story of the day, which is what I wanted to tell you about, which is where Mindy Kaling actually alluded to her mindset that Fred is actually racist. Comes from this article that I want to read here. Mindy Kaling reacts to backlash surrounding Velma being reimagined as South Asians in new series from the HBO Max series. So let's have a look at what she had to say about this and the exact reason why I believe that she is saying that Fred is a racist. But before we get into that, if you're yet to do so, please do consider smashing the like button on this video if you do like my video. If you don't, you can feel free to to also smash the dislike button. Both are appreciated by me. I also appreciate serious, strong criticisms in the comment section below. That's fine by me as well. And I always chat with as many of you as I possibly can. So please do feel free to leave your comments as well. And if you're yet to do so, consider subscribing. So without further ado, let's head into this article and see what she had to say. Now, according to her in a quote, she said, "I think the characters in this are so iconic, but in no way is the gang defined by their whiteness, except for Fred," she explained. So I was a little bit surprised that I think most Indian American girls, when they see this skeptical, hardworking, kind of underappreciated character, can identify with her. So I don't know if Velma was ever an underappreciated character by anybody, maybe on the show itself, but by viewers, I don't think so. So sometimes I get confused when these people are talking, whether they're talking about the viewers or not. But it was actually this thing that she said here that makes me confirm that she's trying to tell us that Fred is racist. So she said, "I think the characters in this are so iconic, but in no way is the gang defined by their whiteness, except for Fred." So Fred is the only one that has whiteness. Now, if you guys remember a couple of years ago, I think in 2020 or 2021 or thereabout, Coke decided to become woke. And Coke decided to push their wokeness by telling people that they were fighting against racism in their, in their company. So how are they fighting against racism? By fighting whiteness, by telling their, their staff members to become less white. Matter of fact, they held lectures held by the woman that is actually popularized this slogan, whiteness, Robin DiAngelo, who wrote about the book White Fragility. In order for you guys to understand what white fragility was all about, here is this story from The Atlantic that says the dehumanizing condescension of white fragility. So let's read a little bit here. It said, "I must admit that I had not gotten around to reading Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility until recently. I've talked about this book before. But it was time to jump in. DiAngelo is an educated professor and most prominently today, a diversity consultant who argues that whites in America must face the racist bias implanted in them by a racist society." So if you're white, you are already racist, whether you like it or not. It's been implanted in you because the society is racist. Their resistance to acknowledge this, she maintains, constitute a white fragility that they must overcome in order for meaningful progress on both interpersonal and societal racism to happen. Right? So for both meaningful progress on both interpersonal and societal racism to happen, that's what they are trying to say. So what is this thing that they need to forgo of? What is this thing that they need to be less of, this whole whiteness thing? Well, during the Coca-Cola event that Robin DiAngelo had with Coca-Cola staff members, she actually shared some of her slides so that we can know exactly what whiteness is. She said, "Confronting racism, understanding what it means to be white, challenging what it means to be racist." So I guess if you're white, automatically you are racist. You're already racist. There's nothing you can do about it. You were born racist. So racism is inherent. It's not something that people learn. That's what they're trying to tell us. So to be less white is to be less oppressive because you guys are oppressors. I've been told that I'm actually working for my oppressors. I don't know who my oppressors is, but I've been told in the comment section that I'm working for my oppressors. Anyways, maybe those people have oppressors. I don't. I'm a free man, last I check. Be less arrogant, like as if only white people are arrogant. Be less certain, like as if only white people are certain. Be less defensive. Be less ignorant. Be humble. Listen. Believe. Now, these last three things that she actually claims happens to be the things that white people need to be more of. I have seen other experts, other academicians that are woke in nature that have said these things are attributes of white supremacy. So I'm a little bit confused. Break with apathy. Break with white solidarity. So these are the things that they want you to break away from. And these are the qualities that I'm sure that Fred is going to have on this show. That's why they kept Fred white. He's going to be a perpetrator of some kind of microaggression, and they're going to have to explain to him about his whiteness. Hence why they left Fred, the straight white male, on this show to do nothing else, to probably be a jerk or to be a dummy or to be the butt of a joke, particularly trying to reverse what was done to maybe black people in the past in Hollywood, maybe in the 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe even earlier than that, when black people were only known for funny stuff and comedy. But my question is this: how do you actually repair something by being perpetrators of that exact thing? Because to me, it seems like the way they're pushing this whole thing, everything that these woke revolutionaries are doing right now, and they are saying that it is okay, are the exact things that white supremacists were criticized for doing. It's like you're trying to remove white people from the society, just erase them, right? Or something like that. It's like just erase them because your inclusivity is just minusing white people. That's all. That's all it means. And so why do you want to do that to a specific race? Are you trying to say they are more inferior, or are you trying to say they are more superior? Either or, you're being racist if you make any of these assumptions. The fact that you're making an assumption that they might be inherently racist using terms like people being defined by their whiteness is racism. When whiteness actually has attributes that you are assuming only a certain race carries out, that's racism. That's what it is. And that's what these people are perpetrating. And Hollywood is hell-bent on pushing this, no matter the number of backlashes they get, because they really don't care about the fans. They don't care about you. And how do I know that they don't care about you? Regardless of the fact that they're getting a lot of backlash, they're attacking fans, they're calling fans racist, and we've seen their argument over and over and over again. They're making the same arguments. And even Mindy Kaling said it herself. She said, Mindy Kaling says she doesn't care about the backlash against South Asian Velma in new Scooby-Doo spinoff. And she said, hopefully you noticed that my Velma is South Asian. She said to the audience, if people freak out about that, I don't care. She continued, nobody ever complained about a talking dog solving mysteries, so I don't think they'll be upset over a brown Velma. That's not the issue, and that's not the argument. And usually this is the same argument we've seen everybody from Hollywood and from the mainstream liberal media make. We've seen them make it on CNN. We've seen them make it on MSNBC. The same argument on The View. The same argument on The Daily Show, which has gone woke, which I told you guys before, has seriously gone woke. They seriously, sincerely celebrated the coming out of Velma, that Velma is a lay dollar bean. If you don't know what that means, it means Velma is lesbian, right? So they celebrated that heavily, like Trevor Noah celebrated it heavily, that, oh yes, she's finally out, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of people are celebrating it because in one of the other HBO Max series, they are also making another Scooby-Doo. She's going to be, gay in that one and whatnot. And in this particular version, she's going to be experimenting or exploring her sexuality, from what I heard. So she's probably going to date men. And so they're getting another backlash, or another level of backlash for that as well, because these people are absolutely confused. And also they've decided to change some of the other characters. Of course, they are giving us somebody like Shaggy, for instance, who's now black, right? And they're not going to be calling him Shaggy, because I think it's going to be a little bit conflicting, because we do have an artist that his name happens to be Shaggy, and he's from Jamaica. And, there is this stereotyping of Jamaicans and weed smoking and whatnot, right? So I'm guessing the reason why they're changing the name from Shaggy, with the correlation of the artist Shaggy, is because of, if it correlates to them, there might be some legal issues here, because Shaggy is copyrighted to that Shaggy. And if you're actually using another Shaggy that's black in the show, there might be some legal actions that could be carried out here. So they're deciding to use his government name, calling him Norville. Now, the funny thing is this. I don't know if this was deliberate. No, it isn't deliberate, but this is just pure coincidence. But Shaggy's real name is Orville Richards, right? It sounds like Norville Rogers, right? I don't know how that happens, but it's just kind of correlating. And so they're going to be calling this guy Norville rather than Shaggy. Anyways, you guys, the reason why I'm telling you guys that it's possibly a pothead is because I also saw another article that said, just gonna say it, we deserve a Scooby-Doo where Velma's gay and Shaggy's a proud stoner. So they need a pothead Shaggy, and so maybe that's what they're giving us here with a black Shaggy. I don't know. I'm just spitting balls here. But if you think there's any correlations, let me know in the comment section below. But so you guys, there you have it. We have a racist Fred, a possible pothead Shaggy, a brilliant South Asian Velma, instead of all of them being just white people. Only Fred has been defined as a person who's been defined by his whiteness. So in other words, Fred's racist. I really would be surprised if nobody ends up watching this, but you know, people will end up watching it just because they want to find out what's going on. Same reason I've been watching She-Hulk and losing a couple of brain cells as I watch them. Same reason I've been trying to watch the Amazon Rings of Power. I've been stuck in episode 4. I gave it 3 shots. That's where I've been binge watching an episode. You know what I mean by binge watching? I'd watch 10 minutes at a time because that's all I could take at a time. So on binge watching it, or however you want to say it. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please feel free to like, share, leave your comments in the comment section below. Really important, and I do appreciate it. Whether you want to support or criticize, it's all good. And I won't silence you. I'm not a woke revolutionary, so I won't silence you. I leave all comments, you know, except for those crazy ones that want to advertise something. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Peace and Sayas out of here. Bye-bye.